Welcome to Arty3D, my name is Alan, and in this week's video we'll be looking at making this marvellous sculpture of 2B from NieR Automata from Bulkomancer Studios. This wonderful model is available now from those wizards at Bulkomancer via their Patreon page. I'll put a link in the description below where you can find this model. They do some of the best models for painting in my opinion. As usual, the first stage is to prep all the parts and primer them with Vallejo Black Primer. You can see here how many parts this turned out to be, and the fact that there are two head versions is a really nice addition. I begin with the base and generally dry brush over it to bring out the detail of the ground. I started with an Army Painter Field Grey and gave it a good going over with the fairly dark grey, followed by a lighter grey of Ash Grey, also by Army Painter. To add some colour depth to the uniform greyness, I gave the ground a going over with Citadel's Reikland Flesh shade, and mostly in the shadowy areas. For the destroyed robot parts, I painted them with the fantastically named Thrash Metal paint from Scale 75, which I think is going to become one of my go-to paints with a name like that. For the large spheres, which are the heads in the base, I split them into two hemispheres in Lychee Slicer to enable me to add LED lights into the eye holes and give them a good going over with the Thrash Metal paint. I placed the LEDs into a pair of drilled holes and then fixed them in place with Greenstuff's clear resin and baked them into place with a quick blast from a UV light pen. I routed the wires through the base into a tea light holder and fixed it in place underneath, and that gave me not only a battery holder but a switch to turn the lights on and off. I added some rust effects with a light brown rust wash from Vallejo. In some places I deliberately chose to overspray the rust and let it pull up so that I could then drag it down over the model to simulate drippy, rusty marks. As you can see here, I'm probably shouting at your phone as you watch on the bus. There are times when it's actually desirable to have paint pull up and create overspray. Normally this would be a major no-no because I actually wanted to do this and to make the paint drag down over the model to produce the streaky effects. I painted a darker brown over several parts to make them look like they were oxidized metal with Pro Acro transparent brown. I gave the black clothes a coat of satin varnish to protect the black paint from any rubbing whilst I handled it. And in order to give the sword a smooth finish suitable for a blade, I polished it with a glass file I bought from Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. A small dab of water is all you need to allow the file to glide over the blade surface to polish it nicely. Once the blade is polished, I airbrushed it with Molotov Chrome Silver paint, as well as the other silver parts of the sword. This Chrome Silver paint is really the best that I've found, and it leaves a really nice chrome finish, and it's pretty durable as well. I gave her hair a primer base of Pro Acro Titanium White, and then used the same to apply a zenithal highlight to the two faces and the upper legs. There's a portion of her upper leg that is actually stocking tops, and I painted that with a combination of Vallejo US flat brown and dark flesh tone. This needed a couple of applications to cover as it didn't cover black very well. I used Pro Acro Coal Black to fill the detail parts of both swords, and it added a great contrast to the chrome silver. For the underside of her skirt, I painted it with a combination of Pro Acro Titanium White and Metallic Medium. This was also done in a few layers as it took quite a few to properly cover the black base coat. For the rings around her sword, I was originally going to light them up with an LED filament sandwiched between the two rings, but I ended up abandoning this as the route through her arms and upper body proved to be a bit of a pain, and ended up tinting them with a transparent yellow instead. For her stocking tops, I added a shadowy area to give them a bit of a variation and also to give the tops a bit of a matte finish. I then painted the laces on the backs of her boots with Vallejo Black, thinned down just enough to allow the paint to flow easily on the laces. I painted the sword handles with a Titanium White by Pro Acro, and I left out the diamond shapes inlaid into the black handle. To add some detail to them, I did this on both swords and added the white to the tails attached to the ends of each handle. For her forearm sleeves, I painted them a combination of Titanium White and Miskatonic Grey. and then gave the boots a coating of Vallejo satin varnish to tone them down a bit, as they were still a bit shiny for my liking. I started the skin tones in the usual manner by going over the zenithal highlight with an initial layer of Vallejo's Warlord Purple in nice thin passes to not overpower the highlight underneath. This is followed by a pass from a low angle with transparent red, also from Vallejo. This will help to emphasise the shadowy areas in the skin tones. For the first of the skin tones, I used a basic skin tone sprayed from a fairly low angle over the legs and head, as there are two versions, one with a blindfold and one without. This is followed by a high attack angle with a lighter skin shade, Vallejo's Prue Pink. This will help to accentuate the skin shading. To help add some colour variation into the shadowy areas, I used Orcish Dermis from a low angle just to fill in those shadows. A final layer from the high angle with the lightest shade now. Vallejo's Pale Flesh gives her skin tone a nice light source highlight look. I painted the underclothes with a layer of Miskatonic Grey. This again required a couple of coats of paint to get a nice finish. I used a silicone brush to apply the Vallejo liquid mask to her top to mask off the areas I didn't want painted with the skin tone colour. You really have to use a silicone brush for this, as the liquid mask is a pain to get out of a normal bristle brush, and you'll probably ruin it if you use one of these. These are cheap, and the liquid mask just rubs off with your fingers when you're done. I picked out some really thin, fine brushes from Amazon. They're actually meant for acrylic nail painting, but I found that they are perfect for painting extra fine detailing with modelling in mind. I'll leave a link in the description below. They're great for painting lines and very small, fine details. Once I applied a zenithal white to the chest and back, I let it dry and then applied Warlord Purple for the initial underskin tone. This is followed by the transparent red applied in the shadowy areas. To add some tonal variation and a subtle shadow to the hair, I sprayed Griff Charger Grey from a low angle up into the hair roots. I then sprayed titanium white from a high angle to add back in the colour of the hair. For her hairband, I painted it with a Vallejo Pure Black, which is actually a bit more of a glossy black than the Pro Acro Coal Black, which can tend to look quite flat. I used this same black for her blindfold on one of the two head variations. As with the legs, I sprayed basic skin tone over the purple and red undertones for the chest and back areas. Now for the arduous task of painting the white embroidered pattern on her skirt, which I really was not looking forward to. I started by using a thin paintbrush and Warpaint's matte white paint, but this was going to take ages to do it, and it took several coats to do the parts that I did do. So I had to come up with something better and faster to paint all the detailing. I did all the outer lines with the matte white paint and the paintbrush, apart from all the deep curves of her dress, which I had to admit defeat and leave unpainted, as I just couldn't get into those areas without painting them and making a mess. Eventually I found that Decocolor make a thin white paint pen, and that was perfect for this task, and it made it so much easier and faster doing it with this than a paintbrush. I was also able to paint more detail than in one go. I touched up any overspill for the white detailing with a Vallejo Pure Black, and I'll be going over the whole thing when the detailing is done with satin lacquer. This will help protect the paint job. I used another Decocolor pen, this time a gold one, decanted into a palette dish so I could use the paintbrush to paint the gold areas of her assistant robot. I used the Miskatonic Grey again, this time for the grey arm parts on pod 042, as I believe it's called. This again required more than one coat to get a nice finish. I gave her upper leg area a spray with satin varnish to help protect the paint finish and to give her skin a little bit more of a normal look than how flat it was before. I also sprayed her skirt with a final application of satin varnish to lock in the embroidered detailing and to help prevent any paint from being rubbed off. Back to the skin tones for her upper body parts, and I went in with the light flesh tone by Vallejo from a high angle to simulate the light hitting her skin. There are two darker panels on her top that on the front and back, and I painted them with a base of a combination of Vallejo dark flesh tone and brown rose. This will then get an edge painting of pure black for the inlay detailing. I was then able to peel off the liquid mask and check to see if I had a success and covered all the bits I needed to, and it had. I finished off the top with the pure black panel inserts and then gave it a satin lacquer spray finish. There really wasn't much to paint on the faces, with one of them being only requiring the lip colour and a small mole. I used Orcish Dermis for the lip colour, as they are fairly neutral coloured, and a dark flesh tone for the facial mole. As for the eyes on the non-blindfolded version, I started by painting the eyes with pure black and then letting them dry, and came back to paint in the white of the eye with deck tan. I tried to leave a thin black outline around the eyes to simulate lashes and eyeliner, and carefully painted into each corner. For the pupils, I used a deep sky blue from Vallejo, and the eyes were actually sculpted inwards in the eyeballs, which helped in some respects for positioning, but also created a shadow where it wouldn't normally be one, so pluses and minuses on that one. I painted her eyebrows with Miskatonic Grey to kind of match the hair colour, but my phone camera decided to not focus on anything other than my hand at this point, which is quite annoying. I painted the darker areas of the pupil with an electric blue by Vallejo into the upper areas of her eyes, and then added the iris with pure black. The last part was to add the highlights to her eyes with white, and I'm calling her done. Now, there's been a bit of a lengthy gap between this video and the last one. I've had some job related stuff going on, and I haven't had the time I would like to dedicate to this channel as I would like. I plan on getting the next one done a bit quicker, but I greatly appreciate folks watching, and if you like what you see, please consider leaving a like and subscribe, and maybe drop a message in the comments section. So with that said, this has been R2-3D, and I'll see you in the next one.